So today I'm going to be talking about Quito and the, I can never say this, Quilotoa loop. I'll write it below because I can't, like, even when it's spelled out, I can't say it. But anyways, after Kenya in Ecuador, I went to Quito. The plan was it was around Christmas and New Year's, and I didn't really know what would be open, how South America celebrated those two holidays. So I just went to Quito, got a hostel, and kind of stayed there for a few days before Christmas and then Christmas itself. And I thought that was the safest bet because I didn't know about buses and stuff. I didn't have to do it. It was fine. If I wasn't traveling the day before or after Christmas, I could have done whatever I wanted. So I was at my hostel and it was kind of really boring because I didn't really know what to do in Quito. I met some people the first day from the hostel and they just want to go walking around town at night, so I did that, and then people kept telling us that it was really dangerous where we wanted to walk, so then we just kind of walked around together. And then I kind of continued doing that myself. Christmas came along, everything was open, the mall was open, and it's in the southern hemisphere, so it's summer, so it's always nice to have Christmas in summer. So we did that. So I was just outside in the park all day on Christmas. I went to the mall. Like, nothing really was different that it was Christmas. So I probably didn't have to stay in a central location. My hostel was so cute though. The lady that worked there made a Christmas dinner for everyone. And it was great. It kind of made it like a little home cooked meal for everyone. It was so sweet. So that was my Christmas. I also went to the equator, the line of the equator, and I met this guy on the bus. I was going there too, because obviously if you're on that bus, you're going to the equator and you're a foreigner. So we just kind of hung out. He actually told me about a better place to go because there's a museum, but it's not actually on the equator. And then you have to walk a little ways and go to the actual, there's a littler museum, and it's the place where you can lay the egg on the nail and do the water experiments, and I think it's way better. I didn't go to the actual museum. I just went to the little, I don't want to say Mom and Paul museum. That was more interactive, and that was a lot of fun. We didn't pay anything. Like, they kept saying like pay entrance and stuff, but no one, like, there's no ticket booth and no one asked us for money. So I honestly don't know what the price is or what, like, if we just went in, but I really enjoyed that place. So then after Christmas, and I waited till after Christmas because I didn't know how this worked, but I wanted to do the Quilotoa loop. And the loop it's like a 4-day trek. So you trek and then you sleep overnight in a hostel in a small town, and then you trek and then sleep in a hostel or hotel, and you trek and you sleep in a hotel. And that's my kind of like hiking. I don't like to go camping and carry all my gear and stuff. So I really enjoyed that style of just camping and sleeping in a warm bed at night. So the first day I went down to, the first town, and it's kind of all organized, and I read online like a million times, like, you go here on this day and then this day. It's very organized if you research it online. So I went to the first town and I could not find the hostel that everyone was mentioning. I had the address, I had everything. I kept asking people, I kept asking the locals, and they had no clue, and I must have searched for like 2 hours for this hostel. But I had like gotten up really early, and I left most of my stuff in Quito because I was going to go back to Quito. So I just had like a pack with some extra clothes. So smart, really smart. And I just couldn't find this hostel. So I went back to the bus station and I decided to go to what would have been day 2's town, which has the crater and the lake, which is supposed to be like the highlight of the trip, which I did on day 1. But it was kind of, I don't know, I didn't know where I was going because I didn't have a map or anything because I was planning on getting that from the hostel, which everyone told me to stay at the first day, but I just couldn't find the hostel. To this day, I don't know where it's at. I met other people on the trail that stayed there and they seemed to find it just fine, but I don't know, for whatever reason I could not find this hostel and no one knew where it was. So I made it to this town, which I didn't know where I was going the whole time. I just knew the name of the town and people were instructing me to get on this bus, da da da. And so I get to the town and you pay a small entrance to get in, and it's basically this crater with the beautiful, beautiful lake. And I just find the first hotel that I can, and it's freezing cold. And another thing they do on this loop is every hotel, they give you breakfast and dinner. So you kind of have to have snacks for lunch, but there's nowhere you can stop between towns because you're hiking. So I spent the night there. It's freezing cold. There's probably better places to stay, but it was kind of like the first place I stayed. So other places probably have warmer accommodation, but it's this really cute, like, family run hotel. So the second day I wake up really early, I have my free breakfast. I think they included lunch as well at that place. And then I set off for that day, and I still didn't have a map or anything. And I just kind of knew, like, there's a map in the beginning of the trail, and I just, like, took a picture of that map and went off of that. But there's a few places where the trail just ended, and so I looked down and there's another trail, and I just kept, like, hopping trails back and forth. There's a few locals that came up and asked, they were going the opposite direction, and they asked me where I was going, and I knew the names of the town. I had that all written out. But it's kind of really, really confusing. And I heard later that the locals would take down the sign giving you the right directions, so they would ask, so when they came around they would ask you or escort you and then expect to be paid for it. But I found my way the first day, and then I stayed at a nicer hotel, and it's $15 a night plus the 2 meals, so breakfast and dinner, and they're really nice meals. It's pretty standard throughout every hotel. And that's where I met the guy. He was kind of living there, and he was just telling me horror stories about the buses that go to and fro each town and how the locals kind of like scam you. But none of the locals scam me. They asked me where I was going, made sure I was going the right way, never hinted at all that I needed to pay them money. So at the second night hotel, they had given me a map, so I finally figured out where I was going. So when they gave me instructions, the map was like, there's this river crossing and you're supposed to take the second bridge, not the first bridge, which it's like a log that you pass. And I set out, and then at the end of the day, I was at my next hotel. It was kind of rainy that day, so it was kind of gross. And then at that next hotel I met more people, and they said that they did that trail, they left before me that morning and they arrived probably 20 minutes after me, and so they probably were on the trail about an hour longer than me. And because they were getting lost, they couldn't figure out where they were. And I'm surprised because I didn't see any other hikers on that trail the whole day. But so I had chosen not to go over Christmas, but they said that like it was packed during Christmas, because I was thinking maybe some of the hotels would have been closed, so I would arrive in this city and it'd be closed. But that was not the case. It's always open. The people I met the next day, or that night at the hotel, we decided to all go the next day. And the next day you could either wake up at 6 in the morning and you could take the milk truck to the final town, or you could just walk it. So we're trying to debate, and then the last town is where you take the bus home. And so we were trying to debate whether to take the milk truck or just walk it. We ended up all just walking it, and I'm glad that we did, because it wasn't a hard hike, and we would have had to wait all day for the bus anyways at the next town, and I had company, so it was good company too. So that next day, I think I would have actually got lost if I did it by myself, because there were some questionable turns and like just trying to get from point A to point B that I probably wouldn't have caught on to, that I wouldn't have noticed, that the other people in the group did notice. So that the one day that I did probably need people, I had them. So then we get to the town, and we're a few hours early to this town, and beautiful views all along the way. We met people going the other way. I'm not sure if it's better going the other, which way to go, because you can go either, but one way you start with the highlight of the tour, which is the Crater Lake, and the other way you end with it. So maybe it's better to end with it. I was told to go with starting with the crater because it's more downhill, but I think it's pretty much equally uphill and downhill both ways. So I didn't think that was a problem at all. Either way you go. I didn't mind that I started with the highlight. I'm always like game for going for a good hike and walking. And then you wait for the bus, and it takes you back to Quito. Or it takes you back to the original town, or the town that I come from, the hostel, and then that bus takes you back to Quito. So people say it's a 4-day hike. I did it in 3 days, and I didn't love it. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either. But I'm glad I did it, because it was a nice hike. I love hiking. But then I got back to Quito, where I spent New Year's, which was really cool, because I stayed at the same hostel, and everyone was there. All my luggage was there, but everyone at the hostel, we had like a New Year's meal, we just drank together. It was this one big party, and Quito was kind of fun for that. They had this they build like effigies, and like they burn like little dolls, which was cool to see. And then we went the street I stayed on, there's clubs and stuff, so we went out to that. But that was my Christmas and New Year's as well. And then after, I went to, so on January 2nd, I went to the Galapagos, which was the highlight of my whole entire trip. And I have tons of videos about the Galapagos. I don't know, I might do a Chatty video on the Galapagos. I haven't decided yet, but yeah, that is my Quito and the Quilotoa loop, which I can never say. I'm sorry, I'm doing terrible. But yeah, so cheers.